What's up, YouTube? Pastor Bob. What's everybody doing on this lovely Saturday? Man, I had to come up and grab my phone, forgot it. I wanted to show you guys this. Now, reason why I'm doing this video is just to kind of help you guys out, give you some ideas, something that I did. Sometimes in certain states they have codes on buildings, right? In other words, permanent structures. Throughout New England, anything bigger than a 12 by 12 has to be permitted, and that's just the way it is, right? So you got to pull a permit in order to build it. You have the building inspector, everybody giving you 2 fingers in the anal cavity. You know, just another tax thing. Well, me like everybody else, I pay my taxes. Quite frankly, if it's my property, I want to do what I want to do. But I want to stay within the means of the law, too. Well, how do you get what you want and get around things? Well, there's certain ways of doing it. And to make it functional. We understand that buildings like, this is a 20 by 20 carport, right? Now, my thing was, I wanted to put sides on it and eventually put a back on it, maybe some doors. Well, how do you do that and not make it a permanent structure? Well, I'm going to show you what I did. Now, for most people, if they don't know this already, when I was in the military, my actual MOS, ranges are not MOSs. You got to be 11B, 12B, 13B, whatever. 77 Fox, 55 Delta, 55 Bravo, whatever. You can go to those schools. You can go to Ranger School, Airborne School, Air Assault School, Scuba School, Pathfinder School. You can go to all those schools, right? All you got to do is put in for it and have the balls to do it and hope that you drink enough water. Anyway. My actual job was, I was a 12 Bravo X-ray, right? So I was a combat engineer, right? So I was an engineer. And I had other MOSs too, but that was my primary that I started off my military career. The Navy was totally different, and I don't even talk about it. But, so, I learned a lot of different little things along the way. In other words, always looking outside the box. How do you put up something, in a field expedient method, make it usable, but if you want to take it down, you can do it quick and easy, right? So, I got to thinking about it one day, and I said, man, I want to cover my sawmill, my mini excavator, my tractor, and a few other little things, right? So I bought this 20 by 20. It cost me on sale, I think it was $300 on sale, which is a good bargain, right, for a 20 by 20. And I said, well, how do I got to give this some weight? Because, you got to have some weight. And I thought, wow, I wonder if I could put maybe doors on it or something later on. This is one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, right? So this is what I done. I'll show you what I started to do. So this is black packaging wrap, okay? Like if you put stuff on pallets, you use the wrap to wrap it, keep it all tight. So that's the first thing I did. I wrapped 1/2-inch OSB board. Now some people say, well, what's that going to do? Well, it gives you a protective barrier to start with, right? So everything starts at some place, right? And then what I'm going to do is, they have some camouflage, like Tyvek material, right? Instead of the white stuff or the gray stuff that you put on the outside of a building to protect the wood. They got rolls of that I'm going to buy like 4 rolls of that and then go on the outside of this. So I'll protect the OSB board, right? So what I did was, you look on the ground, there's treated 2x4, treated 2x4 in the middle, and a treated 2x4 at the top. Okay? See how I did that? You guys a good look. Some of the spots they're just kind of shady. It's not perfect, but it'll get the job done. Anyway, so I just put this on here temporarily anyway until I get the other stuff, right? It'll give it a double barrier. Now the unique thing about this is I was going to get some bolts, U-bolts, and then they said, well, how about zip ties? So what I did was I doubled up the zip ties up at the top and then put a zip tie in the middle. Just drilled a couple of holes, one on each side. These 12-inch zip ties, heavy duty. And then at the bottom. Okay? And all it's got is those chinchy little things in there for right now. Now, later on, I won't need all of this stuff. And you'll see why when I get done. Now, this is a 44-inch opening. So, each one of these doorways is a 44-inch opening. And then what I'm eventually going to do is put a slide door on here. So I'll be able to slide the door. I thought that would be kind of cool. To be able to slide the door on the inside. Right? So, I'll put a couple boards up here and I'll have a slide door. Which I think will be neat. Right? I'll have a slide door on each side. And then, because it's not fastened to anything, right? It's not a permanent structure. You can just pop these zip ties off and take this down in no time flat. Well, I'm going to build the whole thing that way. Now, I'm going to build this section here in the front, and I'm going to go all the way up to the top. And then once I get to here, I'm going to make myself a beam that's going to run right across there, right across the middle. I'm going to have a beam that runs right across the middle. And that'll give that strength. And then I'll put some props right up to the top. So I'll be able to close this whole thing off. We'll open it up. So when I want more air, I'll have a double sliding door here and a double sliding door in the back just for air. I still have to move my mill back this way about, I don't know, probably a foot or so. I'm going to move my mill back that way about a foot and a half, just enough so I can make this wall to go through here. Because when I'm milling stuff, none of this stuff will be in here anyway, you know. And then I'll just have it so that I can open up a section somewhere up close to the top for air if I want, or for light. And everything is portable. All I have to do is, you know, cut the zip strips, which are heavy duty enough to hold it to the ground. Right? Well, except for the beam I'll make. But it'll be nice. It'll be sturdy. It'll be heavy duty. It'll protect my equipment. I won't have to worry about it. And it's not a permanent structure. So if you guys are looking to do something like that, maybe this will give you an idea. Now, granted, I've been building, oh God, I don't even know how many houses I built. But I worked for the Amish for 5 years, and they sent me to school for construction technology. I've done so many things in my life because I've always been interested in learning the next thing. Right? I tell people, don't be stuck just doing one thing. Learn a lot of different things. It'll save you money in the long run. Or you could barter your time with somebody else. You know what I mean? Now, knowing a lot of different things doesn't mean you're a professional at them. It just means you can get by, right? But I built a lot of houses with the best of the best. And I was very fortunate to be able to do that. So, through my military time, you know, my grandfather being a carpenter, and going to school for construction technology, I learned a lot. And along the way, you kind of get ideas for this and ideas for that. And I figured I'd just pass on some of this information for you guys so that you can see what I'm doing. Maybe it'll help you. Maybe you're in the same type of situation where it can't be a permanent fixture, but you can make it so that the structural integrity of it is, much better than what it would be without it. It'll protect whatever equipment that you want, and it'll look nice in the long run. So I got a long ways to go. It takes a long time for me to do things like this, but hey, in the long run, it'll be nice. It'll be enclosed. It'll be nice, and it's inexpensive if you think about it. It's inexpensive. Doesn't cost me a whole lot of money. So, if you're looking to do something like this, it's simple and easy. Just remember to always leave yourself a lip wherever you're joining. Right? Just make sure you got yourself a little lip, so that way you could always add the next board. Like this here, you see how there's a little bit of an opening here? So, well, all I have to do is make a little piece that goes right up along there later on. Some scraps or whatever. So, yeah, I thought it was a good idea. So I hope it helps you guys a little bit. Please like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it. Take care. God bless. Have a wonderful weekend. This is Pastor Bob, and I'm out of here. See ya.